begin a new journey with a new wild Mustang. And I am so excited because this is always such an amazing time connecting with a new being. And I'm also excited because this time I'm going to share it with you. This amazing golden girl is from Roberts Mountain, Nevada. She was rounded up in 2023 in the fall as a 5-year-old. She was most definitely pregnant when she was rounded up. Certainly had babies in the wild before that, I'm sure. But she went to a holding facility in Utah and was there for 2 years. I feel sure that she foaled there in Utah because when she was brought up to Idaho to be offered for adoption, her udders, her teats were very large. They still are, as a matter of fact. They still are. So she certainly is a very wise soul, having had babies in the wild and at that holding facility, being a mare, and a grown mare, a full-grown, mature mare, now 7 years old. Actually already coming 8 because this is presently the end of December of her 7th year. So she's entering into her 8th year. So she is a wise Mustang mare. And it's really beautiful because my very first Mustang partner was a wise Mustang mare. Lindsay's Faith was what I named her after my father, whose name's Lindsay, and after his faith and my faith and her faith. And she taught me so very much. And so I am just really excited to journey again with a new wild being. I want to share with you guys this from the very beginning, and this is the very beginning. We haven't done anything together yet, but it's also not the beginning because I traveled to Colorado to pick her up and hauled her home, and so and she has been here in this space for about a week now, becoming comfortable and settling in, and so in a way it's not the beginning, but this will be the beginning of the first doing type interactions that I have had with her. And I really, I've never been able to come up with a step 1 for gentling a wild horse or any kind of program or even process for that matter, because honestly, everyone that I have had the blessing to develop a relationship with have been just drastically different. I have 3 daughters and they're drastically different, and the Mustangs are drastically different. Our guardian dogs are all drastically different. This one thinks he's a golden retriever. So this is really about opening myself to her and what she says that she needs from me. And really, my intention is approaching this with a beginner's mind. I'm grateful for all the experiences I've had with different Mustang partners over the years. I grew up on the back of a horse, not Mustangs, but Tennessee walking horses. So the horse has always been my safe space myself. That's very natural for me. I'm very much an intuition-led horse person. I find it very difficult actually to break things down into tiny pieces when it comes to teaching other people. I love to help people, but what I find the most easeful is to feel into the space and feel what is asking to be done in that present moment. So that's what I'm intending to do with this wild being. Who doesn't look so wild right now, does she? And that is, if I could create a prerequisite, it doesn't always happen, but if I could say something I would like to have happen first, is I would really love for her to feel safe in her space before we start engaging in our relationship. You know, sometimes that's not possible. You know, sometimes the spaces that they're in, you know, we need to go ahead and engage in a relationship, in communication, to help them feel safe in that space. But if I could choose, I would love for her to feel safe in her space first before I enter into that space with her. And she does. And I really am so grateful for that. Teddy bear, it's okay. It's okay, teddy bear. It is hunting season, and there are dogs running out in the distance, and our dogs are hearing those dogs, and that's why they're barking. Notice when I picked my arm up like that, though, I mean, there's no reaction from her. She's just soft and still inquisitive, and I mean, that's amazing, because there's plenty of Mustangs that just this, from me sitting here, would have shot them across the pen, and I've certainly had many that have been like that. So I'm really, really looking forward to developing a relationship with this being that is obviously so grounded and knows who she is and is naturally comfortable in her own skin. That's pretty special. Yeah. Hello, you. Hey, Sometimes the guardian dogs like to fight over their person. Hey, you. Yeah, I would say pretty incredibly amazing over here, walking towards the guardian dogs that are growling, and now licking and chewing, being inquisitive towards me. You're amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna stand up quietly, and I'm just gonna observe her as I do. So notice her head elevate a bit as I started to stand up. It's subtle, you know, but it's there. And those small pieces are the things that happen before the big things do. Stand up all the way and observe. See how her head comes up higher, and now she's, hey, how she's a little bit elevated in her breathing. Trixie, please. We don't need all the noise. Trixie. You know, y'all could run off that way and bark at the dogs. You could. You don't have to do it right here. Don't have to. Yeah. Beautiful. So a lot of this first session, so to speak, is really observation. Noticing when she needs to walk off and when she feels comfortable being inquisitive. And you notice I'm not even on the same side of the fence as her right now. I'm on the other side of the fence, and that gives her even an added buffer of comfort. So I'm going to kind of play with just walking out a little bit away, seeing if I can stay in the screen. There we go. And then I'm here, and I'm just going to observe what that does for her. What does she need to do? So when I walked over this way, she needed to reorient herself to feel comfortable, but then she didn't need to leave and go to the other side of the pen. This pen is set up, you can't see the whole space, but it's set up about 80 foot across one direction and about 60 foot the other way. It's like an oblong section. So she certainly could go much further away if she wanted to. So that's really, really amazing. So I'm going to come back. I'm not going to walk closer to her. I'm going to walk kind of parallel as I step back. And I'm just going to see where we're at here. And that time there was no shift in her at all. Like when I stood up from sitting on the ground, she elevated her head slightly and started blowing a little bit harder. But nothing changed when I stepped back. And she's actually even licking and chewing. Noting that, you know, anytime a horse releases like a lick and chew, it does mean that there was some level of stress in their body before that. Oh, she's going to check out Trixie. Trixie's smart. But that's a good thing, you know. Pressure is very natural and part of our world, so that's a good thing. But I find it helpful to, when a horse offers any type of release, like a lick and chew, especially a yawn, when they offer that big of a release, I'll think about, well, what came before? Okay, so now she's like all the way up at the fence. Garden, all the way up at the fence. This is, oh my goodness, you are very cool. You are very cool. Very cool. All right, so since she has approached me as close as she can get, I'm going to inch just a little bit. I'm not going to go straight towards her face, and my eyes are at her hip more so, but I'm just going to step a little towards her hip, and I'm just going to look for the spot where it feels like there's a shift in her comfort. Garden, please don't. Please. It'd be so helpful. So helpful. Nice. So you could see about that spot was where she needed to step away. But none of the time is she going to the opposite side of the pen, right? Like she is 10 foot off the rail, and she's got another 50 foot she could go. So she's obviously very comfortable in her space, and she's quite comfortable with me this close to her. So that said, I'm going to step in the space with her. But I am going to step in away from her. I'm not going to step in right where she is. I'm going to slide over here, kind of reorient. All right, so I'm going down here to the opposite side of the pen where you can't really see me right now, but watch her reaction, because that's more important than me. I'm crawling over the fence here on the far side. I'm about 80 feet from her right now. I'm crawling over the 6-foot panel, and I'm observing her reaction to me doing that, and she is very quiet about it. So you're one of these that looks like you're not even wild, huh? Yeah. I absolutely love that. I am not complaining. I love you. Do. So I'm going to gradually ease in a little closer here. And I'm going to come to the spot where I notice a shift in her. So as long as she's the same, I'm going to slowly walk a little closer. Right there. So see how she needed to look away a little bit? That's where I'm going to stop. Notice how she's loading that left foot a little. And then notice when I stopped, she was able to actually be curious and come towards. Directly towards the camera, in fact. Which I'm just off camera, just to the right off camera to her left. Wow. Look at you. Yeah. Look at you. So I feel like what I'm doing here is it's kind of two things. One, it's an observation of her. Observation of how comfortable is she with me. And it is a way of saying yes for the very first time in our unique relationship. This place where the horse and human meet is totally different than anything else that's really created in nature with the horse. If she chooses to step towards, I'm going to give her space to do that. I'm going to allow that. I'm not at all asking her for this, but she wanted to step in, and I'm just creating space for her to do so. You are amazing. You are amazing. Yeah. you are. Yeah. Now, this is as close as I feel. I feel that if I step towards her right now, even though she's very soft and relaxed, it doesn't feel right to do that. Another thing to note is she's very confident, but we have very limited communication right now. And I actually would not want to have a first touch until we have more language between us. If you think about what it looks like when two mares meet each other in the wild and their noses touch and they arc their necks and very often they strike and eke at each other, it's totally okay for them because they're both comparable sizes and they can handle that kind of thing. If I get a strike, I'm not going to do as well with that physically, right? That could do me in. So it's important that before we actually have first touches that we've created more communication so that if that moment starts to arise, I can redirect it. And I think that's actually one of the things that it's just as important with these Mustangs, like this amazing soul that are really confident. And some people, I don't love this term because it's they call them cheater Mustangs. I'll just say it just because it's a term people use, but it basically points to a Mustang that is really easy to gentle and you don't really have to do the work. And we actually, we're a sanctuary here, and one of our, notice I'm creating space for that. Okay, I'm going to shift to what's happening right now. So see how she needed to step away? That's totally fine. I'm going to give her the space to do that, and because she stepped away, I'm going to give her more space, okay? I don't think she liked me talking about cheater Mustangs. Even the word sounds icky. But we have a Mustang here at our sanctuary. I Am Heard Mustang Sanctuary, and she is one that would have been considered one of those Mustangs. She was really easy. Her adopter talks about how she was like one of the easiest Mustangs she ever gentled, and this lady gentled a lot of Mustangs. And because she was so easy, though, I think that that ended up kind of working against her because she didn't learn all the things that a difficult horse would force you to teach them. And she ended up getting sold to someone who thought she knew things that she didn't, and perhaps that person thought they knew things that they didn't, and it ended up turning really south and really bad, and she had some really negative experiences, and the person that had purchased her from the adopter said that she was crazy and they were going to put her down because she was surely going to hurt somebody severely. So she went back to her original adopter. The original adopter tried to work with her and said she was a totally different horse. She had just experienced some crazy trauma. So she came here and she has a forever home with us. We have done everything solely with positive reinforcement with her. Her experience with pressure is so tainted with trauma that we really needed to enter in a whole new way with a whole new language. It's like she had experienced all this trauma in, say, English, and so we started speaking Spanish. So I share that story to say that these Mustangs that are incredibly, quote, easy appearing, it's just as important that we cover all of our bases, comb through everything, and don't leave any holes in the relationship. And the ones that are like this can really make it easy for us to leave holes and think that they know things that they don't. So right now, as I'm walking this circle, she doesn't know anything about drawl in our relationship other than what is natural for her. Of course, she does know everything about drawl because horses do that with one another in the wild, but it's different with a human. So I'm going to continue to engage in this way, but I'm not actually going to reach out for a first touch until we've done some other things. Um, very nice. But it's also, notice how when she reaches towards me like she is here, see how her energy is stretching towards me? Like in that moment, I'm going to give her a lot of space here. That was a big reach. She was really reaching into me in that moment, but it was very soft. I've had some, especially mares, especially older mares, that can have a lot of aggression in their bodies, a lot of protection, and it's not. I certainly think that could be here too, but in this moment, it's absolutely not, and that's an important thing to recognize. What's the energy in her body as she's reaching out to me? That was really incredible. Really incredible. So she's still looking away, creating a lot of space. Trixie. So I'm going to give her even more space. And some of this is that that I see you. You know, that way of saying I see you. Trixie, it's okay. Trixie. Trixie is the little Jack Russell that's barking in the very high-pitched bark. You guys. I think she's feeling a little itchy. It's going to be nice to get that neck tag off. Yeah, she is. All right. I'm going to step a little towards, because I would like to get our neck tag off before we start scratching on the panels. Good girl. So this is kind of the first time I'm actually wanting to interrupt something that she's wanting to do here. So I actually don't really want to take that tag off before she goes rubbing all over things. It is a very warm day, and she has a huge hair coat and comes from Idaho. So, good girl. So I actually feel like now, okay, notice right there, see that rock where she rocked back? You could see her center of mass kind of shift back towards her hips. So I want to rock back when she does that. I want to show her that I see that moment, that she was a little uncertain. And the way I say I see you is I just step back. It's that slight taking the pressure off. So I'm just going to ease forward again. And the moment we're right there, I'm going to take one step back. I'm not going to go way back because I this time, but I just take that one little step back. So nice. I love that she's comfortable enough with me here that she can look out at the guardian dogs racing off to the horizon. And then this is about the closest I feel comfortable stepping towards her. I actually don't want to step towards her any closer from this point. And it's not because of anything that she's done. Trixie, I can just feel it. It's that intuition thing. It's that feel thing. I can just feel that we don't have enough communication yet for me to be closer to her and asking her to move her body in certain ways. All right, so I'm going to step away, and I'm going to shift to the next thing here, because she is definitely ready.